To get right to news with Christian, because Christian, even though today is beautiful, you are keeping your close eye on the weather tomorrow.
Yeah, guys, I'll tell you what, tomorrow really though is the only hiccup of the next 7 days. We have really nice weather in store. We're just kind of go over that speed bump tomorrow with rain and the possibility of some thunderstorms. For now though, take a look outside. We've got beautiful sunshine. There are some of those high clouds starting to filter in, and it's warm too. 71 degrees right now in Burlington, and generally upper 60s to near 70 pretty much all across the board. Now, taking a look at the radar, there's no issues right now. Not even anything on the radar. Doesn't even look like it's working. But if we zoom out on a wider view, notice what's going on back out here to our west. This is our cold front, and this is going to be our next system that's headed our way as we go into your Wednesday. Now, there is at least a level 1 out of 5 for severe weather for us here in North Carolina. So it's a pretty low risk of seeing severe storms tomorrow, but we still need to be on guard as we go, especially in the afternoon hours. I'll show you what happens. Overnight, the clouds start to thicken up. There really could be some scattered rain at any time starting tomorrow morning. But then as we get into the afternoon, this is what we're going to be watching, that afternoon and evening time frame. It's possible that we get a line of storms to form, and some of those could be bumpy or even on the severe side of things. Now, it's not a guarantee that we get storms, but it is a possibility, so we'll be watching that very closely. If any of those storms do get strong or severe, our main concerns are going to be for some damaging wind and hail, although an isolated tornado and just some brief localized flash flooding is not totally out of the question. Just not expecting that with this system tomorrow, but we'll be keeping an eye on it for you. After that cold front moves by, there's some really chilly air behind that cold front. It's not going to feel like spring for a couple days. In fact, we are going to also have some nights at freezing heading into Friday morning and into Saturday morning as well. Now, coming up, we'll dive into all those details in your 7-day forecast, and we'll take a look at how Easter Sunday is shaping up in just a few minutes.
More vaccines are coming into our state just in time for more people to become eligible to get a shot. Now, some people in Group 4 have been able to get the vaccine since the start of this month. But tomorrow it is opening up to everyone in that group. WFMY News 2's Jess Winters joins us live this afternoon from the federally supported site in Greensboro at Four Seasons.
Tomorrow is a big day in the vaccination world. The rest of essential workers in Group 4 are eligible for the vaccine. Plus, here at the federally supported mass vaccination site at the Four Seasons in Greensboro, people are getting second dose shots starting tomorrow. Remember, the site just opened up on March 10th, and Wednesday marks the 3-week waiting period for shot number 2. Mike Wade, a FEMA spokesperson, says for the next 2 weeks, the Four Seasons vaccination site will only be administering second doses. So if you need a first dose, call or sign up for a spot at healthyguilford.com or a county near you.
They need to remember to bring their shot card with them so that they can document that second shot on their shot card to show that they've had both vaccinations.
As I mentioned before, everyone in Group 4 can get a vaccination starting tomorrow. That includes sanitation workers, retail workers, construction workers, just to name a few. The Guilford County Health Department says they have plenty of appointments still available for Thursday, Monday, and Tuesday. So reach out to them if you still need that first dose. We'll have more coming up at 5 and 6.
It is time to verify. It's a big week for COVID-19 vaccinations in North Carolina. By now, you know to expect possible temporary side effects after your first, or more commonly second dose. Low-grade fever, soreness at the injection site, aches and pains. So can you take an over-the-counter pain reliever like ibuprofen or acetaminophen before and after your COVID vaccine to ease discomfort? Local infectious disease doctor Chris Uhl said it's one of the most common questions he's been getting, so he's our first source to verify. We also looked at the CDC guidance and a Yale University study on antibody response. The CDC says it is not recommended you take these medicines before vaccination for the purpose of trying to prevent side effects, but you can take them afterward unless your doctor or medical history suggest otherwise.
In fact, I think that using ibuprofen or Tylenol helps a lot in the first 24 hours for reducing not only injection site pain and soreness, but also particularly the fever and some of the aches and pains and headaches that can come.
The Yale University study in the Journal of Virology published research on this. It studied mice and found painkillers weaken their ability to produce antibodies. Well, the purpose of a vaccine is to give you antibodies, which block the virus from infecting your cells. That's why the CDC advises avoiding painkillers before a vaccine. But afterward, an over-the-counter painkiller should be okay.
And I think the benefits of taking it far outweigh any potential for reduced effectiveness.
Of course, talk to your doctor if you have questions or concerns, but in conclusion, we can verify the rule of thumb is to hold off on taking something like Motrin or Tylenol before your vaccine. Afterward, it should be fine. If you have a verifying inquiry, submit a post, screenshot, or a selfie video to my Facebook page, Mega Malaris News, or email or tweet it to me. Let me get your questions verified.
State coronavirus hospitalizations have taken a surprising jump over the past 24 hours. The state says there are 924 North Carolinians in the hospital with the virus. It's 51 higher than yesterday, and the second day in a row this number has gone up. It's not a major increase, but it did catch our attention. Now watch when we add a second week trend line. This dotted line is the 14-day average. You can see in the mid to late February, this line saw a nice downward trend over the past couple of weeks. The dotted line has leveled off.
Let's take a look at more headlines with your 4 to 5 roundup. The director of the CDC issued a dire warning as COVID infections and hospitalizations tick up across the country. She warned of a sense of impending doom and asked Americans not to let up on safety measures. Dr. Rochelle Walensky says continuing trends are concerning, and she added that there is so much to look forward to, but right now she's scared. It was day 2 of the murder trial against former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. Jurors heard compelling testimony from several witnesses, including the teenager who shot the cell phone video of the deadly arrest of George Floyd. Chauvin's defense attorney questioned the now 18-year-old and her 9-year-old cousin, who was with her last May as those events unfolded. The defense maintains that Floyd's death was a result of drug abuse and an underlying heart condition, and has defended Chauvin's use of force. Jeffrey Epstein's ex-girlfriend is now facing more charges. Ghislaine Maxwell is currently in federal jail without bail. Sex trafficking charges and another alleged victim were added to her indictment. Prosecutors say she was part of a conspiracy to sexually abuse girls that stretched over a decade. Your 4 to 5 will be right back.
And so you need me in the
Hey,
package. Oh, is that Facebook? Is that Facebook? What's up, Facebook?
Hi, hello Facebook.
Hey,
Brad,
Facebook.
I need to know if Brad is still mad at me. I
As
don't
he
know.
should be.
I don't know about y'all, but like my worst fear is that people are mad at me. It's one of
Why?
like I don't know. So Brad, can you tell me if you are?
Ooh,
Is that
he's pointing the
is that
finger
a
at
no?
you.
You're
He just
not
told
over
me in my
it.
ear he's
Looks
mad
like
at
you're
you.
in some trouble. What did you do?
Jalen, if he would have told you in your ear, I would have heard it in my ear.
It doesn't work like that.
It does. That's exactly how it works.
What'd you do to make Brad upset?
I don't know. I think I was late for my mic check.
Well, some called it the COVID-19. Now it's even being called the COVID-30. We're talking about undesired weight gain during the pandemic. March is National Nutrition Month, and health experts are stressing the importance of maintaining a healthy lifestyle even during stressful times. A recent survey by the American Psychological Association polled nearly 3,000 adults. It found more than 60% gained excessive amounts of weight since the start of the pandemic. And get this, 42% of U.S. adults reported gaining an average of 29 pounds, while a tenth of people said they gained more than 50 pounds. Registered dietitian Rihanna Hawkins with Cone Health says you can never start too small to get a hold of your health.
Maybe you start with incorporating more fruits into your breakfast, more veggies at lunch and dinner. You know, we're so blessed in North Carolina to have so many different farmers markets and local food options. So that can be an activity in itself, is going to the farmers market.
Hawkins also recommends meal planning as a way to save time and money. She says anything that you can batch cook, like maybe rice, beans, or pasta salad, can provide enough meals for an entire family to last a few days. And as we start to experience warmer weather like today, Hawkins says now is a great time to take advantage of our local parks and walkways to get out and about.
North Carolina is access to amazing greenways. I personally love to go on the greenways that are right by me, and those are typically open from dawn to dusk, and you can walk as little or as much as you want.
And Hawkins, you know, she also says not to think of your health as a destination. Think of it as a journey. It's something that we're constantly working towards, and you got to be kind to yourself. Can't be too hard on yourself if you fall off track. That's something I'm constantly working with right now.
I like that mindset. Just be easy. Have some grace with yourself about your health journey. I think you chose a good spot, Country Park, to get some video today. It's one of my favorite places to go walk around. It's got a good loop there.
I saw a deer there earlier this morning. I was taking a walk there this morning. You know, when you talk about being easy on yourself and, you know, not being too hard on yourself about, I think I take that the wrong way, because when I think about that, I'm like, okay, well then I can have a milkshake tomorrow and maybe the next day after that and another one the next day after that. I think I took that the wrong way.
You're good.
I'm gonna be honest. I've definitely
yourself.
fallen victim to the COVID. I think I'm at COVID 20. It's not
You haven't
great.
gained 20 pounds.
I promise you, my pants say otherwise, Christian. I'm telling you, I've had to buy a larger size in pants that I was comfortable buying, and it's kind of uncomfortable at first because I'm like, wow, I've really like gained some weight, but I got to get back on track. Summer's coming around, and I can't be looking like this on the beach.
I think you look great.
Oh, thanks, Christian. I appreciate your compliments, but I'm not feeling so great myself.
Okay.
You look great. You look great.
You guys are.
Are any of you guys into like meal prepping or anything? What's your plan?
Jalen, what
Okay.
am I about to say?
Oh,
Yeah,
What about my
she
cooking?
eats eggs
My
7
cooking
days a week.
experience? No. I've been trying to branch out. I've been trying to cook at
I know.
home to not only eat healthier but to save money. And I am done after last night. It started on Friday. I burnt sausage. Like y'all saw the picture.
Yeah, we saw it.
It looked like charcoal. And then last night I tried to make salmon and I burnt the sauce so bad that I ended up just throwing the plate away because it got stuck on the plate so much, and I soaked it for hours, and I think I ruined a plate. So I'm done as of this moment. It was so burnt that when I went to work out this morning, my trainer came up to me and said, I can smell you. Like it was in my hair.
Lord.
That's how bad it was.
You're gonna have to come over to my house. I'm
Yeah,
a
we
great
gonna have
cook.
to
We're gonna use the air fryer. I'm gonna show you some skills because that's not okay. We can't be
not okay at
wasting
all.
salmon.
That is
I
concerning.
ate it. I still
You ate the burnt salmon.
But Lauren, do you not remember yesterday? She was so excited to eat the salmon. She
Oh
told
my
me her
gosh.
salmon looked like my tie. It matched my tie, and now it's burnt.
That's really concerning, honestly.
I
Yeah.
know. Listen, I have a lot of room to improve.
Yeah, we're gonna work on this.
We're gonna have to call your mama.
I'm not into the whole meal prep thing. I just try to, you know, balance out. Okay, I didn't do so good yesterday. Maybe I'll try to eat a salad and do better today, and then it's about balance, right? It's all about balance.
Moderation and portions.
Moderation, that's the word.
Well, let's talk about more of this out on our Facebook live stream. Join us. We'll be right back.
I mean, it was so
Yeah,
good.
that-
Sam.
Hello. What am I talking about today? Social isolation and working from home. What can you do about it?
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. We are 1 year into the pandemic, and working from home is still a reality for some people, and some have no definitive end in sight. According to Statista research, the percentage of people who worked from home full-time increased from 17% before the pandemic to 44% during. To help contain the spread of COVID-19, remote work has meant minimal face-to-face contact and more virtual communication with both colleagues and clients. So this got us thinking about the impact that limited face-to-face interactions can have on people's social and emotional health. Blanca Cobb is joining us today. She has a master's in psychology. So Blanca, let's jump in. For those people who had jobs working with other people but then switched to remote work because of the pandemic, how can that impact their social and emotional health?
What happens is it's not remote work per se, it's a social isolation because of remote work. So if you're used to being around people and even have some time during the day where it's not work related, but you're just chatting, you don't have that at home anymore, your home office. I mean, you're not laughing, you're not sharing. It's really just to the grind, just work. And so what it does is that it increases people's level of loneliness and depression and anxiety. And there's some research in the journals of gerontology that shows that loneliness is associated with a 40% increase in dementia. So if we think about that for a minute, isolation is what it means, right? Nobody else, there's no cognitive stimulation when you're completely by yourself.
That's scary to think about, but some people, they weren't completely isolated. Maybe they have family at home. So is that enough for them to have some of that stimulation?
No, it isn't, not for a lot of people, but you have to think about different people in your life fulfill different roles and different needs for you. And it's one thing to love your family, and there's another thing to like your family, particular certain family members, right? You may not have the same interests, but with a friend, what do? I mean, you have commonalities, you can joke around, you can have fun, you can tell them things without them being judgmental. So it's a very different dynamic. So that's why it's great to have family, but it's still important to have outside relationships of the family.
Blanca, you're making me laugh. I love my cat. I don't always like my cat when I'm working from home. I get what you're saying. All right, so what can people do to decrease their social isolation if they're still working from home?
This is where you have to purposefully and intentionally schedule time, downtime, relaxing time, fun with friends, whether you do it virtually, on Zoom, FaceTime, whether you're on the telephone, or actually get outside with friends. We do know staying 6 feet apart and wearing masks, and particularly now that the weather's nice, is a great way not to feel socially isolated. And then also have fun with your colleagues and your clients. When you have virtual meetings, take some time just to not talk about work and just really continue to develop rapport and just have some fun. It really makes a big difference. But here's the deal. You have to purposefully schedule fun in your own way.
And that's how you know you are truly an adult, when you have to schedule the fun. Blanca, thank you so much for these helpful tips. All right, Christian, what's going on with the weather?
Well, I hope you've been able to get outside today and enjoy the beautiful weather that we have. A perfect springtime day. We got lots of sunshine. Temperatures are near 70 degrees, but there's only just one hiccup, one speed bump, if you will, that we have to go over in the next 7 days, and that's going to be tomorrow. After that, we're home free for a stretch of quiet weather again. Take a look at this. Look back at the month of March. There's only 1 day left. The beginning of March, pretty nice. We had a 14 dry day stretch, and since then, well, we've only had 5 days total. Today we'll make 6 that have been dry. We're going to end the month on a wet note heading into tomorrow. We're just about 3/4 of an inch over average for rainfall for the month of March so far. Taking a look over our weather camera network, you see that beautiful sunshine, but some of those high clouds are starting to work their way in, and we've even picked up a little bit of a breeze. You can see that with the flags blowing in the breeze there over our Burlington camera. All of us flirting with the 70-degree mark, 69 in Greensboro, 71 down in Asheboro, upper 60s pretty much everywhere else, even back to the west and in the foothills as well. And looking down to the south, there's plenty more warm air to go, and that's going to be the trigger for any thunderstorms that we get tomorrow. Notice we have warm air here, really cold air back to the west. Those pressure contrasts and those temperature contrasts drive active weather, especially in the springtime. Tonight, clouds will be building in. We're only going to drop down into the upper 50s for most of us here in the Triad, and pretty much the same story back in the foothills and in the western communities as well. For tomorrow, here's the plan. Scattered rain is likely really at any time in the morning, but as we go throughout the afternoon, that's when we're going to want to be on guard for the possibility of some thunderstorms. Some of those could be on the strong or severe side, and even outside of thunderstorms, it's going to be a breezy day of weather. You can see see on the radar, not a whole lot going on. But back to the west, this is our system that's really been organizing itself over the last few hours. And as we head through tomorrow, that cold front will be picking up some steam, and that's where we're going to have to watch for the chance of thunderstorms. We have warm air here, cold air back to the west. That's just a signal, a driving signal for thunderstorms, especially in springtime. As that cold front slides by, we're watching for storms in the afternoon, but behind that, we're going to be windy and we're going to be downright chilly heading into the end of the week and into the first part of your Easter weekend. Let's show you this on a closer view. Clouds build in tonight, scattered rain likely at any point tomorrow. And then especially as we go through the evening hours, mainly 5 to 10 p.m., we're going to be watching for a line of thunderstorms. Now, it's very possible none of those get severe. Remember what happened on Sunday? We had that first line of rain that came through, kind of reduced our instability or thunderstorm fuel, and none of those storms turned severe. That could very well happen tomorrow. It's just not a guarantee. As this pulls away from us, it's actually going to end as some snow in our North Carolina mountains, and not flurries. We're talking about legit snow heading into Thursday morning. Here's the 7-day forecast. Once that system leaves us, it's chilly. Highs only near 50 for Thursday afternoon, and there will likely be some of those dark bottom scary clouds, but it will be a mostly dry day of weather. Heading into Friday and Saturday morning, both those mornings will be at freezing or below. We could have overnight lows in the 20s, afternoon highs in the 50s, but looking ahead to Easter Sunday, we start to warm it up. Sunshine and near 70 for Sunday.
Mic check 1 2. Mic check 45 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3 4. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 45. Mic check.
What else could this possibly
So about
be?
that
Brad said he
salmon.
didn't know if it was thumbs up or thumbs down. Yeah, the salmon was bad.
So about that
folks.
salmon though.
The salmon was I mean, I did eat it because the point of me cooking it was so I didn't spend money on dinner. But y'all know I'm getting takeout tonight.
What are you gonna get?
I don't know.
Not salmon.
I need a break from salmon and sausage now. I mean, when I got home from the gym this morning, I was telling you my trainer was like, yeah, I
smelled
smell
burnt
in your hair. And I was like, that is mortifying. I went home, I put my cat in a room to himself, and then I opened all my windows and the doors to my balcony, mopped the floor, lit all my candles, like I was trying to get that smell out of there.
That's a smell that just lingers. I bet Stewie's
Thank
fur even
you.
smells like it.
You have to wash your clothes after that, because I've done that too, and it's like you could just smell it all in your clothes.
And I keep my masks in the kitchen, so they all smell like burnt sauce. It's horrible. But I'm learning. And like I said, if we look at this as a journey and not a destination, I'm going to have a lot of journey left.
Where am I standing? Okay, so I went to.
I think you are right there.
Okay.
I think you are in the right spot.
Yay.
Folks on Facebook, what are you having for dinner? Yeah, I mean, I will cook for you if you want me to.
We don't.
I'm
we
actually
don't.
making salmon patties tonight. Like a burger.
You're making salmon patties. Sorry, Brad was telling me something.
Well, the pandemic has forced a lot of normal life to go virtual, and that even includes reading books to kids. One Alamance County resident is using virtual reading sessions to not only showcase local authors, but also promote diversity right here in the Triad. WFNY News 2's Brian Bennett has this story.
How did you see a specific need for these virtual reading sessions?
So I'm originally from Alamance County, born and raised. I find that most of the children's books that I see now don't feature children of color and they're not by authors of color. And so I think for our children, especially in my county, who are American Indian, African American, Hispanic, or Latino, it was important for them to see children that looked like them, experiencing things that they experience, but also seeing these writers who look like them and who were able to take their love for reading and writing and turn it into something great.
What's the impact on the kids? I know they have to be like, man, like I can do this too.
And you can just see it like all over their faces. If they have the book to read along or if they're just watching on the screen, it's like they are so glued to this concept, like it's brand new to them. To see characters that look like them or an author that looks like them.
Walk me through a program, like if somebody wanted to be a part of the virtual reading series.
It normally runs about 30 minutes. I do an introduction and I give a shout out to our co-sponsors. And then I do a literacy resource highlight, which are provided to me by Alamance Achieves. And so it's just different websites and apps that parents can use to help their kids with literacy. And then we go right into the bio of the reader who's typically the author of the book. And then they read the book and that's it.
Some students have been out of the classroom and, you know, some parents were afraid that they would fall behind in certain areas. So what's the impact with the parents like?
So secretly, I think there are parents who watch without their children because they enjoy the stories. Some parents, it's giving them a break. They get to read a good book with us, or maybe they just let their child watch and they get to take a breather from having to be parent and teacher and everything else.
Wow, absolutely love
And listen,
that
we're
story.
sure the parents really appreciate that break. Oh yeah, I mean, it was great. She was a great interview, and we're sure that the parents really appreciate that break that she was talking about. The next virtual reading series is going to be held on April the 3rd. I have more on that at WFNYnews2.com shortly after the show. But just to speak on the power of representation, I mean, I remember, you know, getting my clothes ready the night before, you know, for school. You know, your parents used to make you do that. And hearing Sandra Hughes' voice in the morning, that's when I knew, you know, it's time for me to get on my clothes and get ready to catch the bus, you know, because I had to make sure I was at the bus stop. And later, just being at the same station, and that's happened numerous of times within my life, from radio stations, Terrence J on TV and things of that. So just the power of kids seeing somebody like that and seeing them, it does wonders. And not only just for them, but for their friends and their friends' friends that may not look like them. It brings everybody closer together when you know everybody's story.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, Brian. And I love that she's making this available to everyone who wants to participate. I think that that is such an important aspect of this story.
Absolutely is. And to touch on what Brian was saying about that representation, that is part of our mission here as well. I know Lauren, I know Maddie, I know Brian. We all want to be an example for someone that not only looks like us, maybe grew up in a situation like us, but someone that looks up to us. And I feel like that's the most important part, to be able to be that representation of a positive influence in someone else's life. And I think this is what this program is trying to incorporate.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. You know, exposure is so important. You know, as a young girl, I remember my parents making sure that I had books like that so I can be like that too when I grow up. So I think that that's definitely important to know that you could be anything you want to be. So I'm glad she's doing this program.
Love it. All right, the 4 to 5 is heading to break, but you know we are live all the time on our Facebook page. Go over to WFNY News 2 and get in the comment section. We want to chat with you.
Let's chat it up.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5, 1/2 hour still left to go. I'm Maddie Gardner here with Lauren Coleman. We have meteorologist Christian Morgan outside enjoying the sunshine. And then we put Jalen in the box in the other studio.
Penalty box.
You're in the penalty box today. What'd you do?
I don't know. We'll find out after the show.
He totally dissed me at the beginning of the show. I said
sorry.
the weather's nice, come hang out. And he's like, I don't want to hang out with you.
I'm sorry. That was rude.
I want to hang out with all of you and you at home.
Yeah, we want you to hang out with us, so make sure you jump in our Facebook live stream so you can chat with us throughout the show.
All right, we're going to get right to Christian because, Christian, you know, we have all been enjoying this nice weather today, but tomorrow we got to keep a close eye on.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, guys, we're in a really nice stretch of weather with the exception of tomorrow. That's kind of the only hiccup over the next 7 days. And of course, it is springtime in North Carolina, and we have one of these days about every week during this time of the year. We're going to have some rain, and we'll also have the chance for some thunderstorms as well. Right now, though, there are no problems. Beautiful sunshine all across the Triad. We are starting to see some of those high clouds starting to filter in the sky, and we even have picked up a little bit of a breeze. You can see those flags blowing on the camera there over in Burlington. But temperatures quite nice. 71 in Burlington right now, and upper 60s to near 70 over pretty much all of the entire area, even back to the west and in the foothills as well. Now, taking a look at the radar, there's nothing going on right now. It almost looks like it's broken, but if we zoom out on a wider view, this is going to be our system heading our way tomorrow. This is a cold front, and you can see it kind of organizing over the last several hours. It will be heading our way as we go into tomorrow morning and also into the afternoon as well. Now, down in the deep south, this is going to be a little bit higher of a severe weather risk. For us, it's only a level 1 out of 5 tomorrow, but we still should be on guard, especially in the afternoon and early evening hours for any storms that could get strong or possibly turn severe. Let's show you on a closer view what this looks like. Clouds thicken up tonight. There could be some scattered rain really at any time tomorrow morning. And then as we go into the afternoon and early evening hours, right now thinking generally 5 p.m. till about 10 p.m., we could see a line of storms form. And some of those could be on the strong or severe side, but that's not a guarantee. Remember what happened on Sunday? That first line of rain and storms came through. It actually helped to stabilize the atmosphere, and then that second line, none of those turned severe. And this could very well be the same story tomorrow. None of that's just a guarantee, so we're going to keep an eye on this. Heading into tomorrow night, things do start to clear out. This is actually going to end as some decent snowfall in the mountains. Main concerns with this tomorrow would be for damaging winds and also the possibility of hail. An isolated tornado or some brief localized flash flooding, not out of the question, but that's just not a huge threat with this system tomorrow. So scattered rain in the morning, be on guard. It's still going to be a windy day of weather, even outside of any thunderstorms that form. We'll be keeping you updated, and we'll be paying attention as we go throughout the afternoon hours. Heading into the rest of the week, it's going to get downright chilly. We'll show you that first look at your Easter weekend coming up.
When it comes to the COVID-19 vaccine, there is no shortage of misinformation you'll see online. One of the latest is a viral post claiming the vaccine could affect your fertility. So our Verified team went to the experts to get you the real answers.
Let's verify. Do COVID-19 vaccines cause infertility? Our sources, Dr. Tony Shalley, a reproduction expert who teaches at Georgetown University's Graduate School and George Washington University's School of Medicine, and Dr. Andrea Carcelin, a vaccines expert from Johns Hopkins University. The answer is no. The vaccines do not cause infertility.
The vaccines for COVID are designed, not to affect the reproductive system.
There are no vaccines that interfere with fertility. Neither are there vaccines that in theory might interfere with fertility.
I asked both, how do we know the vaccines won't affect reproduction?
The vaccine is very specific, and one of the ways they work is by causing the body to make antibodies specifically against certain proteins. And those are proteins that are involved in the infection.
So the immune system is trained to recognize just that part.
There is no damage to our own proteins, to our own native proteins, which might be involved in fertility or any other aspect of reproduction.
To wrap it up for you, no, the vaccines do not affect fertility in men or women. The vaccines are specifically designed to deal only with COVID-19 proteins and do not damage our own proteins. And one of the other questions coming out of that is, do the vaccines cause issues with pregnancy? Well, so far, thousands and thousands of women who are pregnant have already received the vaccine, and so far, researchers say they have not found any issues between pregnancy and receiving the vaccines. In fact, in some cases, they have found that the antibodies from the vaccinated mother pass on to the baby. With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
All right, let's turn now to your 4 to 5 roundup. President Joe Biden says 90% of American adults will be eligible for a vaccine in just 20 days. The projected date of April 19 is about 2 weeks earlier than May 1st. That's the date the president previously set as his goal. Now, he warned Americans not to let up amid rising COVID-19 infection rates. He also called on governors who have lifted mask mandates in their states to reinstate them. As countries like Japan, China, and Denmark plan to introduce vaccine passports, the Biden administration says they will not be issuing a similar credential. The White House says the federal government will not give out vaccine documents or store vaccination information in a federal database. Instead, a member of the administration says they're going to leave that to the private sector. The United States has vaccinated more people than any other nation in the world. And Americans are taking more flights again. 13 months after the pandemic nearly halted air travel, the TSA says they've screened a record number of travelers during the 2 weeks in March that many use as spring break. For 17 days in a row now, 1 million people have gone through the country's airports.
All right, when you see this, the flowers, the trees, the springtime, you immediately think what when you see those pictures?
It's beautiful, but I kind of think of itchy eyes, itchy throat.
I am with you. Yes, I see yet another bottle of Zyrtec in my future. Yes, spring allergies are rough, but it's not the only stuff on the outside that's the problem. It's the inside. For instance, I give you the towels, people, all right? What do you do with your towel after you shower? Do you hang it one side over the other? Do you double fold it and hang it? Do you stick it on a hook? What do you do?
I probably have done all three, but growing up with a sister and we shared a bathroom, I used to double fold.
Right, and I double fold even though I'm an only child. So I thought it was just a matter of space or preference, but the expert that I talked to said, nope, never do the double fold.
Every time you fold it, you're making the density of that towel or that fabric double or more. So you really want to get as much airflow on both sides of the towel. Things that dry quicker are less likely to develop some of those bacteria and funky odors.
Yeah, that's not the only thing that's causing a stink and a problem in your bathroom. Pete Georges of Advanta Clean of the Piedmont says the bath mat needs to come off the floor every day.
No one ever thinks about that, but when you come out of the shower, you're clean. However, you're adding water or additional moisture to an environment that can be conducive for mildew or mold growth. So you have a wet towel or a wet floor mat that stays wet on the floor, it has no way to dry itself quickly, then you can get some of that funky wet towel odor.
You know, I thought it was really interesting that he said, clean does not have a smell. He says fragrance is not being clean. It's just simply a chemical additive, and that chemical clean smell can be worse for your allergies.
All right, Jalen, are you taking a phone call in the breaks? Who are you talking to?
Look, I'm a busy man.
Oh.
I got business I got to tend to.
You're not going to share with the group?
Well, I mean, if y'all really want to know, I've been trying to finish my story that's airing in 2 seconds. And then I just finished writing the little anchor read for 5, actually, since you want to know. There you guys go.
I'm so happy to hear it. Thank you for doing that for us.
Yeah, you know my job.
Yeah, we always love it when you do your job.
Probably a great start to the day. What you guys think, Facebook?
Facebook, Caroline actually had a very helpful tip. Caroline Jones, she said, try a sliced lemon and a sliced orange on the stove in water. Let it simmer on low. It will naturally take the smell out of your house. That's the kind of tip I need.
That's my girl, Caroline Jones.
Oh.
I know her.
That's great. Thank you, Caroline Jones.
She's a wonderful person in my life.
Well, she's now a wonderful person in my life. Because, see, I do appreciate the cooking tips. Those are great. But what's done is done. And what's burnt is burnt.
There
and
it is.
so now we gotta address that
What's
problem.
burnt is burnt.
I think I'm gonna get a salad tonight.
Yeah, I had a salad earlier.
Beefed up salad. I know, I saw your tweet.
Yeah, I had a salad today, Core Life.
I saw your tweet.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna talk about in this story?
Today we had a young lady named Sarah Quintana who made a three-pointer that made the SportsCenter top 10.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's what we got coming
I'm
up.
excited.
Coming
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. We know that the Triad is filled with talented people. However, one 8th grade student from our area did something that most athletes her age only dream about. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey talked with this new hoop star who recently made national headlines.
Well, Sarah Quintana is now the star of Our Lady of Grace 8th grade girls basketball team. Yesterday, she was featured as the number 10 play of the day on SportsCenter's top 10. And according to her mom, Amy, her superstar was born with a little bit of extra sparkle.
And how does it feel to be on TV?
It makes me feel excited. Woo-hoo.
Sarah Quintana was born with a combination of tuberous sclerosis complex, autism, and epilepsy. But that hasn't stopped her from achieving her goals at Our Lady of Grace here in Greensboro.
I love to make my friends thrilled and happy.
That's exactly what the 8th grader did when she hit the shot.
It was a bit of, shock from her teammates when Sarah decided to take a 23-footer. And then when it, bounced the bottom of the net, it was just pure excitement. It was a sense of pride as well, especially across the whole school.
Athletic director Caleb Money has known Sarah and her mother Amy for years. Both are excited to see Sarah's dreams coming true.
It's been a long journey for Sarah through her life. I mean, she has a lot of challenges medically and cognitively, and she loves basketball. She loves all sports, but she really loves basketball, and she spends a lot of time in our driveway making shots.
So it's no surprise that when Sarah got the chance, she stepped up and knocked down the three with ease.
It's great to see that from my perspective, just how she can help others recognize that, disabilities don't mean you can't do it.
Sarah's mom, Amy, wanted to make sure I shared her appreciation for everyone involved at Our Lady of Grace. She also wanted to give a big shout out to the young ladies at St. Leo's Catholic for being a part of this great moment as well. And if you didn't catch Sarah on SportsCenter yesterday, well, I'll attach a link to my web story on WFMYnews2.com.
All right, thanks, Jalen. Taking a look outside weather-wise, we got a beautiful day of weather today. Perfect spring-like day for your Tuesday afternoon. We got lots of sunshine, but we are starting to notice some of those high clouds starting to filter into the sky, and that's just kind of a hint of things to come as we head into your Wednesday. Temperatures in the 70s right now, and you can see that a nice look on our weather camera network right now all across the Triad. We still have beautiful sunshine, and we're going to keep that sunshine until after sunset. Those clouds aren't really going to thicken up until we go into tonight. Of course, looking at the radar, things are quiet. You'll be able to see that, but on a wider view out to the west, this is our system. This is our cold front really starting to organize a bit over the last few hours, and that's going to be heading our way as we go into your Wednesday. High pressure in control of our weather, but it is on the move. It's starting to shift offshore. We have warm air here, and behind this cold front is really cold air. Those temperature contrast and the pressure contrast are really what drives strong weather changes, especially this time of the year in the spring. And as this cold front gets closer to North Carolina, really at any point tomorrow, scattered rain is going to be possible. But also as that cold front crosses through North Carolina, we have the chance for some thunderstorms, and some of those could be on the strong or severe side. Behind that cold front, it's going to be windy and downright chilly. We're going to be back to almost winter-like temperatures for the end of the week. We are also tomorrow in a level 1 out of 5 for severe weather. It's not a guarantee that those storms turn severe, but if they do, we do need to be on guard for the possibility of a damaging high wind gust and also some hail as well. Closer view shows you the clouds thickening up tonight, scattered rain moving in the morning, and it's very possible that some of that rain in the morning limits our instability, which means it would limit the ability for thunderstorms to form. The same kind of thing happened on Sunday. So storms are not a guarantee, but it's something that we do need to be prepared for and be ready for tomorrow afternoon. Mainly in the evening, Generally 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. we'll need to be on guard for some of those strong or even severe thunderstorms. Could be left with a few showers heading into tomorrow night. It's actually going to end as some snow in our mountains. I know. March, but we're talking about snow. There again is your main threats: damaging high wind, also the possibility of hail, isolated tornado, or some brief localized flash flooding. Not totally out of the question, just not what we're worried about with this system mainly. And behind that front, it's going to be windy tomorrow anyway, even outside of thunderstorms that form. But once that front gets by us heading into Thursday afternoon, and even on Friday some, it's going to be windy. Wind gusts 20 to 30 miles per hour are possible. And this is a strong cold front. Take a look at this. Temperatures on the move. Behind that cold front, we're going to be dropping into the upper 20s to near 30 degrees heading into Friday morning and Saturday morning. This is why we tell you, don't plant just yet. We can still have some frosty or freezing nights ahead. Afternoon highs on Thursday only near 50, low 50s on Friday. We're still in the 50s on Saturday, but we are starting to rebound some. Easter Sunday's looking great with sunshine and temperatures near 70. Your 4 to 5 is coming right back.
Hey guys.
Hi, who's still with us? Wanda, Bobby, Tamrika, Gloria, Brad says hello. Bobby, Amber, hello, hello.
Facebook,
We're back.
are y'all enjoying today's weather?
Hello. I'm enjoying today's weather. I think that I'm going to go outside after this.
Have some
when
dinner.
I get home at 6.
Have some dinner on the patio.
Enjoy the sunshine. I have a very small balcony. Like it's probably like 2 or 3 feet. It's not a real one. It's hard to sit out on, but.
I went out on mine this morning. I just had some coffee and just kind of just enjoyed the breeze.
That's nice.
It was nice. I said I wanted to do more of that. I didn't use my last balcony as much.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful day. We need to take advantage of this weather. The rest of the week is not so pretty. Not as pretty, I guess I should say. What language was that, Matt?
Spanglish, little Spanglish from Matt. Spanglish from Matt.
There's Jalen.
I know, a little tardy to the party. I don't know what's going on with Brad, why he's...
Burlington looks beautiful. I love this shot because you can see the flags.
Yeah, that is nice.
This is a very nice shot. Look at that.
Nice clear sky.
Burlington looking exceptional.
I'm a big B-Town fan.
You know, Christian's forecasting not great weather this weekend, and I'm not a fan.
I know. I'm supposed to play golf on Saturday.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm supposed to golf
and it's
Friday
cold.
through Monday.
Wait, Jalen, are you golfing too? Can we golf together?
Friday through Monday. I'm supposed to golf.
Are you?
All 3 days?
Oh, that's 4 days.
Are we golfing on Saturday?
I mean, do you need a third? Like
Maybe.
A Mebane Church is stepping up again to help anyone in need. Back in December, the Mebane United Methodist Church started an event called the Giving Manger. Anyone could drop off things like cleaning supplies or non-perishables at the church, and then anyone who needed the supplies, they could pick them up, no questions asked. So fast forward to today, and the church is doing the event again, but this time they're calling it From the Manger to the Cross in celebration of Easter. Reverend Jeff Nash with the church says it was an easy choice to step up and help the community.
I think from a congregation standpoint, there was great joy of giving, and people like, how can we do this more? Especially liberating because we didn't try to control it, right? Just put it out there. Whoever needs it will be able to use it. And that's really important because we believe that's how we're loved as well.
Very great event here. You know, I love that in times like this, everyone's coming together to help those in need.
And we've seen more need in our communities in the past 13 months now. People who may have lost their jobs or taken a pay cut because of the pandemic. So I think this is great once again that they're bringing this back. I know it was a hit back in December.
Oh, I'm sorry. But once again, it's just the triad coming together and doing what we do best. And it's when members of our community are in need, we do the best we can and whatever is necessary to make sure that that need is met. And we usually go above and beyond expectations, and I expect nothing less from me.
Yeah, and I like how it's no questions asked and, you know, cleaning products, things like that, because I haven't seen a can of Lysol in the store since maybe January of last year.
Right, absolutely. And they make it easy. It's just right up there on the steps of the church, right in the front of it. And we have all that information for you, of course, as always, on our website, WFNYnews2.com. So I think Jalen hit the nail on the head. The triad, and Lauren, you'll see this just in a few days of being here, a few weeks, a few months, that when there's a need, they step up, they fill it time and time again.
And just to throw another little tidbit out there, one thing I learned in my adult life, cleaning supplies are not cheap at all. Doesn't matter what you're buying. So I appreciate this organization for doing what has to be done and what's needed to be done.
All right, thanks for watching the 4 to 5 today. My 2 cents is coming up after the break, and then after the news goes off at 6:30, I give you all permission to go outside and enjoy the sunshine. But you just have to stick around a little while longer.
Until 6:30.
Till 6:30.
Yeah. Hey, mic check, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Hello, 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 live. Wow.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh.
Hi, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana.
Hi there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jalen, when did this girl hit the 3?
Hello, mic check. Everything sounding good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. All right.
It's time for my 2 cents. I saw a social media post the other day, and it's still sitting with me. It said in part, stop telling people yes when you want to say no. Stop telling people it's okay when it's not. Stop telling people, I'll think about it, when you already know the answer. Now, I'm still thinking about that post because I am guilty of all of that. I find that I'm eager not to disappoint other people so much that I end up letting myself down. Many of us, myself included, don't put ourselves first because we feel guilty or selfish, when the only way we can help others is by helping ourselves first. You've probably heard the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. Well, your cup is emptied when you say you'll do something that you don't have the time or the energy to do. When you move on from something hurtful too quickly and you don't take the necessary time to deal with it. When you put too much on your plate when someone else could have easily taken some of the burden. And if you're still concerned about putting yourself first and upsetting someone else, remember, you can't predict how they're going to respond. They may ask for your time, but it doesn't mean their world is going to end if you politely decline. It's possible that they'd rather you say no and be happy. It's okay to say no. It's okay to tell the truth. It's okay to be honest. And it's okay to put yourself first. That's my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
All of Group 4 can start getting their COVID-19 vaccines tomorrow. How clinics are handling even more people and when everyone can get their shot.
Plus, what does that expiration date on your COVID vaccine card actually mean? Is that when it stops protecting you? We break it all down in just a few minutes.
But first, the North Carolina weather roller coaster is in full swing this week. From Carolina blue skies to a severe weather threat and even possible freezing, they are all in the forecast.
Wow, Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley joins us now. Tim, what a week of weather we've had.
Yeah, it's springtime in the South, right? We are going to have a little bit of everything this week. It is part of March and April, and that's what we're doing. So let me get you squared away with what you need to know. Right now, all sun all the time. As we look at our sky cameras across the region, we're in beautiful shape right now, and this gorgeous weather will continue. You have nothing to worry about the rest of this evening, so just enjoy it. But you saw the rain showers out here to the west, back toward Memphis and the mid-south. What we're watching for tomorrow will be at least a low-end threat of severe weather. What I mean by that, we're in the risk level 1 out of 5 right now. A couple weeks ago, we were at a 3 out of 5. Now we're at a 1. This is not as big as the past couple of storm systems that we've seen. Having said that, clouds are building in overnight. We'll only have lows in the upper 50s to low 60s, so it's a warmer day and a muggy day tomorrow. And by the morning, we'll likely see some scattered showers across the region. And by the late afternoon, this is where we could get into some occasional trouble. You see right here, storms like that, if they're able to form, they could produce some damaging wind gusts. That'll be the main concern. Once we get into the overnight, that's when the cold front will actually move through, and we do chill down in a big way by Thursday. I do think some hard freezes are likely by Friday morning and by Saturday morning. So just to reiterate here, scattered showers for the morning, for the midday, but by the afternoon and evening, I just want you to have a plan. You already have it. You've practiced it the last couple of weeks. Just be on alert. If any alerts are issued for your area, get ready to move to that safe space. We'll have that coverage for you for tomorrow. Now, it also will be windy. Coming up, we'll talk about that cold air, which not only will be chilly for us, but it could produce some snow in the North Carolina mountains.
And you can keep track of the latest storm chances and the cooler weather on our free WFMY News 2 app. There you will find the latest weather alerts, radar, and the 7-day forecast. And make sure to check out our WFMY News 2 YouTube page. There we will post live weather updates all day long. Just make sure you subscribe.
More essential workers will be eligible to get the COVID-19 vaccine in our state. The rest of Group 4 can get vaccinated starting tomorrow. WFMY News 2's Jess Winters joins us live now with everything you need to know on the vaccine front.
A portion of Group 4 has been able to get the vaccine for a couple of weeks now, like people with underlying health conditions, those living in homeless shelters. But starting tomorrow, all of Group 4 will open up. That's people like electricians, bankers, construction and real estate workers, just to name a couple. The Guilford County Health Department tells me they're prepared for more bookings and still have appointments available this week and next week. The federally supported vaccine site in Greensboro at the Four Seasons, on the other hand, will not be giving out first doses to Group 4 or anyone for that matter. That site will only be administering second doses starting tomorrow through the next 2 weeks. Here's FEMA spokesperson Mike Wade.
We will start with the second shot vaccination here at the CDC site at Four Seasons. People should have already had an appointment when they got their first shot.
Again, second doses only here at the Four Seasons for the foreseeable future, but plenty of first dose appointments available elsewhere.
All right, thank you so much, Jess. The Guilford County Health Department still has vaccine appointments available. They are only available online and they are first come, first serve. Register at healthyguilford.com. And remember, next Wednesday, the state moves to Group 5 when it comes to vaccinations. That means many adults that want one can get one. We have more of that information on our website, WFNYnews2.com.
Well, now that even more people can get vaccinated starting tomorrow, the big question is, how long will that protection last? Adding to the confusion, some vaccine cards have an expiration date on them. 2 Wants to Know's Ben Briscoe verifies what that means.
A viewer got this vaccination card, which says his Pfizer shot has an expiration date of July 2021. He wondered if that's how long he's protected from the virus. Our sources for this verify are Pfizer, the CDC, and Dr. Alex Greninger, an infectious disease expert. First up, Pfizer says the EXP, or expiration date, refers to how long doctors have to get the shot in your arm before it goes bad, not how long you're protected from coronavirus. In fact, the CDC writes, both this disease and the vaccine are new. We don't know how long protection lasts for those who are vaccinated.
This is the first time we've ever done RNA vaccines in people, so I mean that makes it harder to analogize.
The CDC would not expect you to get reinfected within 3 months of getting the vaccine, but beyond that, it's an educated guess.
Immunity from the vaccine will probably last in the order of years, depending on what happens with this virus from a mutational standpoint.
So that expiration date on your vaccine record card does not show how long you'll be protected. But we can verify immunity should last a few months, probably 6 months to a year, but hopefully a few years. Ben Briscoe, 2 Wants to Know.
State coronavirus hospitalizations have taken a surprising jump over the past 24 hours. The state says there are 924 North Carolinians in the hospital with the virus. It's 51 higher than yesterday and the second day in a row that this number has gone up. Now, it's not a major increase, but it definitely caught our attention. Now watch when I add a 2-week trend line. This dotted line here is the 14-day average. You can see in mid to late February, this had a nice downward trend, but over the past couple of weeks, this dotted line has leveled off.
Yeah, nationally, data shows there's been a 16% increase in new coronavirus cases per day over the past week. While the coronavirus vaccine is giving people hope, CDC Director Rochelle Walensky says we should anticipate a 4th wave of cases.
We have so much to look forward to, so much promise and potential of where we are, and so much reason for hope. But right now, I'm scared.
While some are pushing for vaccine passports to speed up to the return to normal, the White House says it will not take the lead in developing the apps, but will provide guidelines. New York State launched its passport app this weekend, becoming the first state in the country to do so. It will allow venues to validate whether a customer has been vaccinated or had a recent negative test.
A Winston-Salem 6-year-old is in the hospital with life-threatening injuries after a crash this morning. 3 cars were involved in the accident on Bethabara Park Boulevard at about 8 a.m. Police say for an unknown reason, one of the drivers didn't slow down and crashed into the car in front of it, and the car behind rear-ended them. Police say the 6-year-old was in the car in front and was not strapped in properly. The investigation continues. In Greensboro, police are investigating after a man died in a car crash last night on East Market Street. Police say Alan Dawkins failed to yield while trying to make a left turn and hit Franklin Poole, who was driving on his motorcycle. Poole was taken to a local hospital where he was later pronounced dead. Police charged Dawkins with misdemeanor death by motor vehicle. He was not injured in the crash.
And new at 5, Winston-Salem police say a juvenile is responsible for injuring a 4-year-old boy in a drive-by shooting. It happened last night around 9:30 in the 1100 block of New Hope Lane. Police say the juvenile suspect showed a gun as he rode in a car down the street. The driver of the car, Demas Ramsey, is charged with accessory after the fact. More charges against the juvenile suspect are expected. The 4-year-old injured in the shooting is expected to be okay. No one else was hurt.
The murder trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is in its second day. Chauvin faces 3 charges in the death of George Floyd: second-degree murder, second-degree manslaughter, and third-degree murder. Jurors heard testimony from several witnesses, including the teenager who shot the cell phone video of the deadly arrest back in May. Darnella Frazier, who was 17 at the time, took the Facebook video of Chauvin kneeling on Floyd's on his neck, and that video went viral. Frazier's 9-year-old cousin was standing beside her.
It's been nights. I stayed up, apologizing to George Floyd for not doing more.
As a bystander,
Two more young witnesses who are either currently juveniles or were at the time of Floyd's death testified today. The judge ruled earlier in the day that audio of these witnesses will be broadcast, but not video due to their age. The defense says Floyd's death was the result of drug abuse and an underlying heart condition and has defended Chauvin's use of force.
The trial is expected to last several weeks as both sides present their case and the jury deliberates. We will have a live look inside the courtroom every day on our website, WFNYnews2.com. You can also get the latest updates sent straight to your phone for free with the WFNY News 2 app. Just make sure notifications are turned on.
It is one of the things we wish would stop, those unknowing robocalls. A drastic step you can take so only calls from people you know come through. We explain next.
Hey guys, so I'm going to be using aux 8 and I'm going to be pushing it out. You will not see me on camera at the beginning. Okay, so you're going to see this. What am I seeing? Oh, I'm seeing 4. Let me just move that a little bit. Okay. So you're going to see that, and I'm going to be like, nope, 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 and I'm just going to push it out of the way. Okay. Yep. Yep, that's good. Yep, thank you.
If you're interested in renewing your auto warranty now...
No, out, out, out. You know that we all hate robocalls, right?
It makes me angry that people feel like they can set up a computer and intrude on my life.
I hear you, Ann. She got No-Mo Robo for $2 a month. Other call blocking apps include Hiya, Mr. Number, and Robo Killer. But Consumer Reports says the anti-robocall tools provided by your mobile carrier may be an even better option.
For the most part, consumers don't need to do anything to get these services to work. Calls that are legit will be allowed to ring, and calls that aren't will either be blocked or they'll show up with an alert.
There were about 46 million robocalls last year. That's actually fewer than the years past. I know it's really hard to believe, but tracking system service UMail says it is indeed true. Now, if you don't want anyone but who you talk to on your calling list calling you, you can take a very drastic step. And you can set up your phone to only allow calls from people that you have saved inside your phone. But I got to tell you, with this step, you're going to have to update your contact list often to avoid missing calls from anyone you're doing business with. Here's how it goes. For iPhones with iOS 13 or later, you're just simply going to go to Settings and then Phone, and you're going to scroll down and tap Silence Unknown Callers, and then you just turn on the feature. For Android, very similar. Tap the phone icon, usually found at the bottom of your home screen. Then at the top right corner of the screen, you're going to tap 3 dots, and it's going to bring up Settings, and it's going to say Block Numbers. You're going to then enable Block Calls from Unidentified Callers by tapping that toggle switch on the right. Now, these steps and the other blocking resources are in the 2 Wants to Know section, so you can take a look at that right now. Hey, don't miss this. If you are on Social Security or SSI, the IRS just released your estimated payment date for stimulus number 3, and it is April the 7th. I'm going to have more on your payday coming up at 6.
Hold me to a time, checking up on our forecast and showing you how we did for today. Predicted a high just shy of 70 degrees. My forecast from yesterday was for a high of 69. The actual actually got up all the way to 70 degrees. What about tomorrow? I expect the temperature to be right about the same, but the big change will be scattered rain that we're guaranteeing, and also the possibility of some thunderstorms. We'll talk about this potential coming up, but also take a look at what could be some really chilly air by the end of this week. Your full 7-day, including that severe weather forecast, is next. All right, spring weather keeps us on our toes. Kind of have to be ready for a little bit of everything, and we will be having that over the next several days. Today was almost picture perfect if you like spring weather. We've enjoyed a lot of sunshine, started the morning at 40, cool and crisp, and then warmed up to about 70. Somewhere along the line the last couple weeks, 70-degree days just kind of stopped being a big deal. We're doing it with a lot more frequency now. Let's take a look across the Carolinas. Everything dry for us, but you're starting to see some moisture kind of move in a little bit closer to us. We have this front out to the west near Memphis, Arkansas, Louisiana. You see some of these scattered showers in South Carolina. That's the Atlantic moisture getting pulled up, and that's happening as high pressure shifts offshore, and we have this cold front moving in. We're already feeling that stiff breeze around here, and it's going to be windy tomorrow and windy the next several days. Part of it is this cold front, which will bring the possibility of thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. Almost every front like this in the spring poses some risk for severe weather. Tomorrow, there is at least a low risk of severe storms for your neighborhood, but it's not a high risk. Behind that front, it gets cold and it gets windy, and we could have some damaging frosts and freezes by Friday and Saturday morning. I think that's a guarantee, actually. Here's your severe weather threat level for now. It's sitting at a level 1. That could get raised or lowered tomorrow as we kind of see the conditions on the ground develop. But here's the futurecast. Right on the late morning, we're dealing with scattered rain showers. I want you to be ready to be alerted of any severe weather by the afternoon. So afternoon through evening would be the main time frame where we could see some storms just like this moving through. They would pose the threat of damaging wind gusts mainly. Anything like a tornado threat is low for us. Once we get into the midnight time frame, that's when the cold air starts to roll in, and the rain could linger as long as early Thursday morning. So what kind of threats are we talking about? Generally, a few damaging wind gusts would be possible. Hail, tornadoes, flood threat, pretty low for this scenario. So we'll just keep you alert of anything as it moves through our area. Stay tuned. You know what to do at this point. We've had several threats already, and this is a rather low one. Do keep in mind, Friday morning, Saturday morning, upper 20s, that's a big deal this time of year. That could cause some damage to blossoming trees, crops, and flowers. So please take those preventative measures to cover them up as best you can. Going into the rest of the forecast, upper 60s are here for Easter Sunday, back into the 70s for early next week.
The Boulder, Colorado police officer shot and killed responding to last week's supermarket shooting will be laid to rest today. 51-year-old Eric Talley was among the 10 victims killed in that mass shooting.
We will never forget the sacrifices that he made and the sacrifices that your family has made. As governor, I speak for the entire state of Colorado when I say that we are here for you and we will always be here for you.
The Colorado Healing Fund has raised more than $1 million for the victims of the shooting. The 21-year-old suspect faces 10 counts of first-degree murder. Police are still investigating a motive.
Border Patrol agents in Texas continue to face a surge of migrants crossing the southern border. Yesterday, government figures showed the number of unaccompanied children stranded in short-term Border Patrol holding facilities had climbed to 5,700. The Department of Health and Human Services says it is housing an additional 13,100 migrant children in shelters and emergency sites. Officials are expected to brief all House members on the situation tomorrow. We'll be right back after this break.
Have interrupt mic 7 button?
Yeah. I had lunch. I had Chick-fil-A today. Yes, I had lemonade and a grilled chicken sandwich.
Well, I had a little more leftover focaccia from a second batch I made, and so I made a sandwich with it. Yeah, and it was even better than the first one. So.
Check this out. An 8th grader on the Our Lady of Grace basketball team in Greensboro was featured on SportsCenter's Top 10 for that. Sarah Quintana was diagnosed with multiple physical and cognitive challenges, but that has not stopped her from competing, hitting that 3 last week and getting national attention for it. Her mom, Amy, wants Sarah to be an inspiration for others.
It's great to see that from my perspective, just how she can help others recognize that, disabilities don't mean you can't do it.
Such an amazing young lady. If you didn't get a chance to catch Sarah on SportsCenter Top 10, she was featured yesterday's number 10 play. If you want to check it out, we've attached a link to our website, so go check out the video.
Look at that, Sarah. What's so great about it is that I love to watch SportsCenter, and you get to see some amazing plays. And here is somebody from Greensboro featured and getting it on the national stage to get those accolades.
Yeah, real feel-good story. March is all about basketball, especially around here. So it's nice to have that triad connection and just, someone featured for a very good reason. It's nice to see good news.
Yeah, inspiration. Such a great young lady, and I'm sure she's inspiring a lot of other young ladies and gentlemen out there.
But also those bragging rights, right? Because you're going to say, look at all these highlights from the Elite 8 during the NCAA tournament, and there she is.
Oh, wow.
She's up there with them as well.
We love it. Keep hitting those threes, right?
All net.
Switch.
We'll be right back.
Who can't pay their rent is still, coming through. So it's a lot of help. It's starting to flow out now.
Gotcha. Okay. We will do that. Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together. There's my mic check. Okay. All right. This next stuff is us. It'll be the first segment's about like 6 minutes or so. Hey, did you see that I moved up that one prod? Yep. Okay, so when we come back and I wrote a little something about, hey, let's start this way, blah, 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 blah. That way he can go to the 3. You don't have to stay on the prod the entire time as he's kind of talking about the 1, the 2, and the 3. You can go back to him, this, that, and the other. Okay. I don't know where the microphone button is, so I can't talk to you. Oh, there isn't one for mic 7. Okay, that can't happen. Sure. Janae, if you will count to 5 for me, and then Nathan, you follow right after.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Great. Okay, we got 1 minute left. It is a nice dream to think about money just falling from the sky, but it doesn't happen. Right now, many Americans are struggling to pay their bills, and they're putting themselves further in debt just to get by. So today on 2 Wants to Know, we're answering your questions and tackling your questions about debt, about credit cards, about money and finances so that you can be in a better financial position. Joining me today and answering your questions, Credit Card Insider Senior Analyst Nathan Grant and money expert Janae Adams. You can text your questions to these experts by doing this number right here, 336-379-5775. Again, text only, do not call. All right, April is designated as National Literacy Month. So Credit Card Insider just completed a survey about kind of all different things, mishmash of credit cards. So Nate, let's start there with your top 3 findings.
Yeah, so we had a bunch of questions about various financial topics for Financial Literacy Month, but some of the biggest takeaways were that nearly a quarter of those surveyed said they'd made at least one late payment since the start of 2020, and another 4% were unsure if they even had or not. And we know the dangers of late payment, so that was one thing that was kind of a surprise. Over 23% of respondents had to get a new credit card due to either credit card fraud or stolen credit card information since the start of 2020, and 85% of people said that they thought credit scores are included on your credit reports, and they are not. So,
they are not, no. But the credit score is so important, isn't it, Janae?
Yeah, it is, especially if you have to look at things that you need to buy, if you're having to take out debt and so forth. They look at a credit score and, value you on that in most cases.
What was interesting to me is over the years, we've learned that a credit score can also play into whether you get a job, whether you get an apartment.
Yeah, that's some of the things. So sometimes you have to try to see if someone would sell you your house on their own for cash, or either be able to go into an apartment for someone who just owns a rental. That's what I did in Indiana. They didn't look at my credit score. They just said, you got the money, you can stay here.
Yeah, okay. But for the rest of us, we need to make sure that that credit score is good so that it allows us to have some more choices there. Janae, I know that one thing that's top of your mind is all the stimulus money that's coming out and everything that is included in the rescue package. So tell me about some of the things that are on the forefront of your mind.
Yeah, so definitely that they are extending the housing and rental relief. So if you're someone who's watching that's been having problems as far as paying your rent, paying your mortgage, reach out to those that can help you pay for that, or at least can put that on a standstill until everything gets back on your feet, whether you're getting a job or whether you have some money in for your tax refund or that stimulus check that comes in.
All right, and so we do have a question here about what is the best way to pay off a student loan. So I'm thinking, Janae, that's in your wheelhouse.
Yes, and so this is the best time right now, especially if you have a federal student loan. It is on pause, which means that anything you pay to the principal is going to bring that balance down, which means you're going to not be paying any interest, and that leads to you paying off that student loan debt a lot faster. If you have a private student loan, always try to pay extra on the principal so it can bring it down faster and you can pay it off faster. That's what I did with 25 grand of student loan debt. That's how I got done in 2 years or less.
And I don't want you to miss that at home. 25 grand in student loan debt. She got debt and she did it in 2 years. That is making it happen for sure. All right. Hey, Nate, when we were talking about the credit score and the credit report being very different, just for folks to clarify, what is a credit score? What is a credit report? And what do the two tell you?
So one thing that's important to know, and this is a good thing for Financial Literacy Month, is that you actually have many credit scores. They're not just one score. There's hundreds of smaller scoring systems, but some of the more popular ones are like FICO or Vantage Score, which are different agencies that do look at your credit reports and put together your scores. But that's the key difference, is that it's the information in your credit scores that goes into your credit reports. So you can't, when you're looking at your credit report, you're not going to see the scores themselves on there. It's just the information based off of your payment activity, how long you've had credit, how much credit you have, your credit utilization, which is how much credit you're using in relation to your maximum limits. All sorts of factors like that go into it. So it's important to monitor your credit reports. And since the pandemic began, you're now able to check your credit report for free, at least until April 22, once per week for free. It usually was once per year. So definitely take advantage of that to kind of see where you're at and make sure there's not any inconsistencies and stuff in there.
Yeah, you can check it once a week. That means if anyone is opening up a credit card or a loan in your name and you don't know it, you can check it and you can see it quickly instead of a couple of months going by and a whole bunch of charges being racked up. So we want you to be able to do that. We're going to put that link for annualcreditreport.com in our web story for you today. That way it's easy for you to see. All right, it is 5:34. We've got one more segment of this credit, money, financial information. What we want you to do is text your question in. We'll be right back.
What a cow eats. What a monkey eats. What a wolf eats.
It's the second day in the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, filled with an emotional day of witness testimonies. I'll go find her.
Oh gosh. Hi. Sorry, I always forget that this is the time that my mic check is happening. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Want your question answered? You've got to send a text message. Take out your cell phone and type out your question. Then send it to 336-379-5775. Don't call. You must send a text message if you want your question answered.
And we're back with Credit Card Insider Senior Analyst Nathan Grant and money expert Janae Adams. All right, this question is, if you have a credit card that does charge an annual fee, should you keep it or close it out? Nate?
Well, annual fees usually mean you're getting better rewards with that credit card. So if you're making back whatever you're spending per year to have those rewards with the credit card, then it's worth keeping. Plus, you usually don't want to close down a credit card because of what it could do to your credit scores. You're lowering your credit utilization by decreasing your overall available credit at that point. But if you're having trouble with a credit card and that annual fee is something that you're not really getting the value of and you don't really want to pay it, that's probably a good idea then to close the card.
All right. Janae, this person says, is it a good time to file bankruptcy due to COVID-19 and gross loss of income?
Yeah, that's usually a very last resort, because when you file bankruptcy, that can really damage a lot of your prospects going forward, whether it's getting a job, whether it's being able to get a home, anything. And so unless it's the actual worst situation you can be in, I would try to figure out a way to bring in more money to pay down some of that debt that's making you feel that financial stress, instead of doing the bankruptcy if you can.
Because you said sometimes the bankruptcy is kind of more of a Band-Aid for the problem than it is an actual solution.
It definitely is a Band-Aid. It's about being able to figure out the actual underlying problem with your finances first. And once you find that, you'll probably realize, okay, I can handle this and I can pay what I need to pay off and not file bankruptcy.
All right, Nathan, this person says, when does the FICO score update? Most of my bills are paid, yet I still have a low score.
It depends on like the credit issuers and how they're reporting to the credit bureaus. And not all credit cards use FICO. Some go through Vantage Score and stuff. So it really depends on everybody's individual situation. But typically, every month, these things are being updated. And for instance, when you pay off a late payment and that gets paid off, that's usually turned around pretty quickly. So that's why it's more important than ever to take care of any outstanding things like that could be affecting your credit scores.
I think both of you will want to chime in on this one, but we'll start with you first, Janae. This person's asking, what would you recommend to pay first? A credit card balance of $1,000 or of $3,500?
And so I always like to go with the lowest balance first, and because it's about being able to beat the interest on there. So any kind of extra money you may find, especially with these stimulus checks coming in and also tax refunds, you probably can take care of both of those very soon, but definitely start with the smaller one, get the momentum going, and then pay the higher one after that. That's just my opinion.
Yep, I definitely think, especially with the time of year with these new sources of income coming in, that's a great way to target. And that's kind of like usually called the snowball method, is like starting with the smaller balances, paying it off, and then once you have that paid off, you're putting that towards your next one. But if you do have a really, really high APR on like that 3,500 balance, and that's like a maxed out credit card, you might want to focus on that to save money over time. But you definitely see quicker effects with paying off that smaller balance first.
Right. I mean, you can just like check one totally off the list, which is a really nice feeling for sure. All right. So this next question is, does having zero balance on a credit card affect your credit score?
It's a common myth that you have to have a balance on your credit card to actually help your credit scores, but because I mentioned it a couple times already today, but your credit utilization, which is the percentage of your available credit that's being used, a lot of times you'll hear people say, keep it around 30% of it being used. That's really a myth, because really the lower the better. If you have a zero balance on your card, that's going to be better overall. Once in a while, you might have different credit card issuers that might want to encourage you to use a card if you haven't used it in a really, really long time. But that's usually not the case. Usually it's just for your credit scores, which the question was about. You definitely want to have the lowest balances as possible. And if your balances are paid off in full every month, you're getting all those credit card rewards without paying any interest.
Gotcha. All right. Now, this person is saying, how can companies that say they help you consolidate your debt work it so that you pay less than what you owe? Is that really correct? And can they do that?
Well, it depends on the method of consolidation. Usually, debt consolidation is something that you can do on your own. The same methods that you using an agency are going to help you do are things that you can do on your own. So you really, depending on your individual situation, you might want to take different steps towards it. Some people have paid off using a personal loan because it has a lower interest than their credit cards had individually, and it simplifies it to one easy to manage payment rather than juggling multiple. But that situation isn't a blanket situation that might work for everyone. There might be other strategies that could work for other people. So really what you want to do when it comes to taking over your credit and getting on top again, you want to look at your situation, take a step back, kind of like Janae did, and decide a plan of action to, best suit your situation.
Well, speaking of your plan of action, it was drastic. I mean, you paid off $50,000 in debt, and you really did the things of like not eating out for 2 years and that kind of thing. For people who go, okay, that's way too drastic for me, what are some small changes that they can make?
Some small changes. So of course we didn't eat out for 2 years, but guess what? Maybe you eat out 5 times a week. Can we cut it down to 3 times a week? It's just small steps. You don't have to go drastic about anything, but anything helps. $20 here, $50 here, anything that's saved that can be added towards paying towards the debt is going to make a big difference overall.
Yeah, I think there's a myth there that, well, I only have $5 to give to savings account. It's not worth it. I'll just spend it. And you say no.
No, every little bit counts. I don't, even with little kids, they can help you bring $1 in as well.
All right. If you missed any of this, you can find the story in the Two Wants to Know section on our website at WFMYnews2.com.
It is the second day in the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, filled with an emotional day of witness testimonies. So far, prosecution revealed Chauvin pinned his knee on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, which is longer than first reported.
The defense argues police were in a threatening situation because of the crowd that gathered around. We have law specialists joining us after the break to explain what this trial could look like as it progresses and what we need to know about what's already been said. We'll be back.
Oh, yeah, great talking to you both again.
All right. Bye-bye.
Later. Bye-bye now.
One second.
Pull it up. Hey, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time today.
How's
I think
that?
that's better. Yeah, I think that'll work. Ben, if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Can you guys hear us?
Anymore, they'll have to let you know. But
Gentlemen, can you guys hear me? Thumbs up if you can. Gentlemen, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. What about you, Mr. Shaw?
Hello, how are you?
Good. We're about a minute away.
Okay, well, I'm not going anywhere.
Witness testimonies continue today during day 2 of the trial against Derek Chauvin. Prosecution called to the stand key witnesses, including the teenager who filmed the viral video showing a former Minneapolis police officer's knee on George Floyd's neck.
The trial is a lot to take in, and to help us make sense of it all, we have 3 experts that will join us over the next several weeks. They're here to explain what you're seeing in the headlines. Today, we have Elon Law Professor Steve Friedman and UNC Law Professor Ted Shaw joining us. Our third expert, WFU Professor of Law Cami Chavez, can't be with us today, but she'll be here next time. Let's get to know our experts a little more before we dive in here. Steve teaches evidence law at Elon University School of Law. He previously served as an assistant U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia and has published articles and books in multiple publications. Ted is the director of UNC Center for Civil Rights at the UNC School of Law. He specializes in criminal justice policy, civil rights, and discrimination. plus critical race theory and race and law. He has served as an attorney with the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice and worked with the NAACP Legal Defense Fund for 26 years. Cami is a professor of law and the director of Wake Forest University's Criminal Justice Program. She is a former federal prosecutor for the District of Columbia and had published writings on federal hate crime legislation and enforcement and racial profiling. These guys know their stuff, and we are so glad that you're all here today. Let's start with the bigger picture. What can we expect to see happen in this trial? Steve, why don't you take that first?
Okay, yeah, we're figuring out who's going first, but here I can say to you that, as you can see, this is not simply a trial that attracts attention of Minneapolis or Minnesota. This has worldwide attention. And in part because of the pandemic, there are going to be a lot more people live streaming than ever before. So people are going to learn about the criminal system. And really what I think they're going to be unlearning from television and movies about how the system works. Of course, it has great implications, and I'll pass it over to Ted to continue.
Well, yeah, I think one of the things that we can expect to see is an attempt to humanize the defendant here by defense counsel. And we're also going to see an effort by the prosecutor to make clear that this was an act of callous indifference. And this is going to be a real play to determine what the story is, whether the jurors saw what they are told happened, whether it actually happened, or whether they should believe something else. To use an old saying, you know, who you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? And we're going to see a very different trial at the beginning than we're going to see at the end, the beginning being very emotional. I think the end of the trial is going to be more technical, the second part of the trial. This is going to be one of the most important televised trials since the days of the O.J. Simpson trial and the Rodney King trial.
So, sir, you talk about this being one of the most important televised trials. It is in Minneapolis, but what kind of impact nationwide could this verdict have?
Well, I think that the country, many people around the country are going to be watching this. And in fact, beyond the United States, I think we might find other people watching it in different parts of the world. And that's going to have some impact, particularly at a time when the United States has been so recently divided around issues of race. So the question is, who are we collectively as a country? Who are we as Americans? And how does this terrible death, this incident, play into this inflection moment, this moment in which the country is struggling to determine who we are?
So we want to talk to you about the jury makeup here. What factors are being taken into consideration when you made that jury? Because so many people have seen so much media coverage. How do you ever find someone that's impartial?
So I would basically say that people look at it as jury selection, but it's really jury deselection. Each side wants to get rid of jurors who they think will not favor that side. And so the prosecution is looking at the jury very differently than the defense, even though the overarching goal is to create a fair and impartial jury. The problem with impartiality is they're looking for people who have not really turned on the news, who don't go online, who know nothing about the case. Well, you can't find that. And that's why they tried to move the case, but high publicity doesn't mean the case gets moved. So you're going to have here a more diverse jury than that particular county apparently has. And you're also going to have jurors who may have some opinions already, because you can't find people who are totally neutral. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
You know, I would just add to that there has been a long evolution with respect to jury selection or jury deselection. Often juries are criticized for being all white juries or not having. This is not true. This jury is very diverse. It's very much a composite of, I think, the Minneapolis area. And it's diverse not only with respect to race, but also with respect to gender. Black people, white people, multiracial people, women and men. It's going to be a very interesting month or so as we watch this trial play out and see what the jury does. So we remember that in order to hang a jury, all it takes is one vote in criminal cases. This is going to be a very interesting courtroom drama.
A month or so of this, huh? We are so glad here that we will have you guys here to help us through all of this, because it is so much to unpack. It can be so emotional, but it's good to hear from you guys the legal side of it and the background and the expertise. So thank you so much. If you have any more questions, let us know. You can always text them in or just email news@wfmy.com. We'll get them to our experts the next time they're here, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Tomorrow. Hey, mic check. Tomorrow's a big day in the ongoing fight against COVID-19. The rest of essential workers and okay.
Hello there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Hi, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine. Tomorrow is a new state.
Hi there, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm about to fall.
Hail the size of ping pong and golf balls pelted parts of our area over the weekend.
Today we're enjoying another day of sunshine and mild temperatures, but the problem is it's not going to last.
No, meteorologist Tran Kirksey says this forecast sums up North Carolina in one picture. It's up and down and has a little bit of everything.
And Tim, that little bit of everything includes possible severe storms tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll have at least a low risk tomorrow of some thunderstorms for the afternoon and evening. And like a lot of our spring cold fronts, sometimes they can get us into some trouble. Let's talk about it. Here's what I'm tracking right now. The front's still very far away to our west, so we're in good shape for this evening. Nothing to worry about tonight. You can rest easy. All is well. However, by tomorrow, these rain showers will be coming in to our area. So I'll start you off on Futurecast for tomorrow morning. This is around 9 o'clock. Scattered rain is possible by the midday hours and into the afternoon. Notice here, occasionally you could get some brighter storms that kind of move on through. It's not a huge severe weather threat, but the wind is strong enough in the atmosphere that if any storms are able to form, they could put down some damaging wind gusts. That's what we will be tracking for you here in the Weather Center throughout the day. By the overnight, it'll be moving through, and we are getting very cold by the end of this week. Frosts and freezes are a concern. Right now, our severe weather risk level for tomorrow, it's a 1 out of 5. It's a lower end threat because the storms aren't a guarantee. They're just a possibility. So we'll be tracking that for you tomorrow. And of course, you can count on us to deliver any alerts if and when they are issued for you. Coming up, we'll talk about the rest of the forecast, which, as I mentioned, gets really cold.
And you can stay up to date with whatever's in the forecast when you download the News 2 app. It's free in the App Store and Google Play. And consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. There you can catch live weather updates throughout the weekend.
New at 6 o'clock, policing is in the spotlight here in North Carolina and all across the nation as Derek Chauvin's trial continues. But today, a Triad Police Department continued its open conversations about police, race, and the community. WFMY News 2's Grace Holland caught up with High Point's police chief after a tour of the International Civil Rights Center and Museum.
A lot of the things they were talking about in there today, the first time I'd heard them, but it's probably not the first time I should have heard them.
Entering these doors opens larger conversations.
If people are afraid to ask questions, they're going to sit there forever and not know.
Some High Point police leaders visited the International Civil Rights Center and Museum for the first time, including Interim Chief Travis Stroud.
But we wanted to make sure that we took the chance to ensure that we are doing our job the proper way, being aware of the past history and make sure we don't replicate some mistakes.
It comes during the trial for former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, who was charged in the death of George Floyd last summer. Floyd's death sparked protests across the country, including cities like Greensboro and High Point. That conversation about race and policing still continues.
One of our biggest things is we want to be fair and impartial. And I think for us to do that, you need to educate yourself. And that's exactly what the museum did for us today.
International Civil Rights Center and Museum CEO John Swain says that this program and tour has also been given to the Greensboro Police Department and the Winston-Salem Police Department. He's hopeful to do a similar program with Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police soon.
Many of our officers, they have good intent, but a lack of exposure.
Chief Stroud says the next step will be to find ways to implement what they've learned. In Greensboro, Grace Holland, WFMY News 2.
The murder trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is now in its second day. Jurors heard testimony from several witnesses, including the teenager who shot the cell phone video of the deadly arrest.
It's been nights. I stayed up apologizing to George Floyd for not doing more. He just stared at us, looked at us. He had like this cold look, heartless. He didn't care.
Now 18-year-old Darnella Frazier appeared off camera. She recorded the viral video of former police officer Derek Chauvin kneeling on George Floyd's neck. The defense maintains Floyd's death was the result of a drug abuse and an underlying heart condition and has defended Chauvin's use of force. You can watch the trial. WFMY News 2 is streaming it on our website. Just go to WFMYnews2.com and look for the red bar on the top of the homepage.
Winston-Salem police are investigating a crash that sent a 6-year-old to the hospital. Police say the 3-vehicle chain reaction crash occurred on Bethabra Park Boulevard this morning. Police say a child was a passenger in the second vehicle and wasn't buckled in. First responders rushed the 6-year-old to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. The 3 drivers all had minor injuries. And we have new information in the case of a 4-year-old boy injured in a drive-by shooting. Winston-Salem police say 19-year-old Demas Ramsey was driving last night when a juvenile passenger fired shots into a crowd on New Hope Lane. Investigators say a 4-year-old boy was hit in the arm either by shrapnel or a bullet. His injuries are not life-threatening, but he is still in the hospital. Ramsey is charged with accessory, but the juvenile has not been arrested just yet.
Greensboro police say a man faces charges after a motorcyclist died in a crash. Police say Alan Dawkins was trying to make a left turn onto English Street from Market Street around 8:30 last night, but they say he failed to yield the right-of-way to Franklin Poole, who was on a motorcycle. Poole's motorcycle hit Dawkins' SUV. Emergency crews took Poole to the hospital where he later died. Police charged Dawkins with misdemeanor death by motor vehicle and failing to yield.
Tomorrow, our state takes another step, making sure everyone is vaccinated. All essential workers in Group 4 will be eligible to get a vaccine. That includes construction workers, real estate agents, retail workers, and a lot more. WFMY News 2's Jess Winters is live tonight at the Greensboro mass vaccination site with more.
Tomorrow is a big day in the ongoing fight against COVID-19. The rest of essential workers in Group 4 will be eligible for the vaccine. Plus, here at the federally supported mass vaccination site in Greensboro at the Four Seasons, people are getting second dose shots starting tomorrow. Remember, this site just opened up on March 10th, and Wednesday marks the 3-week waiting period for shot number 2. Mike Wade, a FEMA spokesperson, says for the next 2 weeks, the Four Seasons vaccination site will only be administering second doses. So if you need a first dose, call or sign up for a spot at healthyguilford.com or a county near you.
They need to remember to bring their shot card with them so that they can document that second shot on their shot card to show that they've had both vaccinations.
As I mentioned before, everyone in Group 4 will be eligible for that vaccine starting tomorrow. That includes data operators, bankers, electricians, just to name a few. The Guilford County Health Department told me they have appointments still available for Thursday, Monday, and Tuesday. They're not booking up as fast as they once were.
Jess, thank you. And to elaborate on that a bit, the health department in Guilford County says those appointments are available online only, and they are first come, first serve. Appointments are open to anyone in groups 1 through 4. Register at healthyguilford.com.
Well, starting on April 7th, that's a week from tomorrow, Group 5 can get vaccinated. That is the general public. Keep this in mind, though, the Pfizer vaccine is only for those 16 and older. The Moderna and Johnson & Johnson vaccines are available for anyone 18 and up. But why is that? We went to Cone Health's Chief Pharmacy Officer, Deanne Brooks, for an answer.
It's just very simply, that's who the vaccine study design was designed for. So it was designed for anybody 16 and older or anyone 18 and older.
Brooks also said studies are underway for vaccine use in minors, but it could take 6 months to a year before they're finished. Medical experts say kids being vaccinated will be necessary to reach herd immunity. The state does have a new option for COVID testing, and it's offering 35,000 at-home COVID tests for free. They're for people receiving food and nutrition services who are disabled or are experiencing barriers to getting tested. So how will this work? Eligible people request a kit, which will be shipped overnight. You register the kit and take a nasal swab, mail the sample back to the lab, and then check your results online 1 to 2 days after the lab gets it. We have the link to request your kit on our website, WFMYnews2.com.
If you've been wondering how many people in our state have tested positive for coronavirus, this should give you some perspective. It's just over 912,000. That's about the population of Charlotte, and it's going up about 2,000 every day. Meantime, hospitalizations are also going up. The state says there are 924 North Carolinians in the hospital with the virus. It's 51 higher than yesterday and the second day in a row that this number has gone up. It's not a major increase, but it definitely caught my attention. Now watch when I add a 2-week trend line. This dotted line here is the 14-day average. You can see in mid to late February, this line saw a really nice downward trend, but over the past couple of weeks, this dotted line has certainly leveled off.
Still ahead on WFMY News 2 at 6 o'clock, our newsroom has been getting call after call from Social Security recipients asking one question: where is my stimulus check? Well, 2 Wants to Know did some digging and has a date for you. That's next.
Hello, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together. Oh, thank you. And it needs to be on video, and it's on video. Okay. So everything's gonna be in this one, right? 5? Okay, so I can put that there, and then I can stand here, and that should be okay. Yep, thank you. Well, the countdown is on to stimulus payment number 3 for Social Security, SSI, and other federal beneficiaries. The estimated date is April the 7th. That's right. The IRS expects payments to hit bank accounts and existing Direct Express cards by that April 7th date. Now, the April 7th payment date is for Social Security, Supplemental Security Income, and Railroad Retirement Board beneficiaries. The beneficiaries who did not file a 2019 or 2020 tax return or did not use the non-filers tool. Now, hearing this, the first thing you want to do is see that your payment is coming to you. So you may go to the Get My Payment tool. Do not be surprised if you see status not available. Here's why. The IRS says the Get My Payment tool is not going to be updated with the new stimulus payment dates until the weekend of April 3rd and 4th. So while you are getting your payment April the 7th, you probably won't see the updated status until after the holiday weekend. So don't get worried this weekend when you don't see your status change. Wait until at least the beginning of the week to check that status again. Now, the one group not included in the April 7th payments are Veterans Affairs benefit recipients. And I want to show you this up close. The IRS says they estimate that economic impact payments for VA beneficiaries who do not regularly file tax returns could be dispersed by mid-April.
All right, springtime definitely keeps us on our toes, doesn't it? Today, almost picture perfect, really. It's beautiful to be outdoors, and that still continues a little longer. Remember, our sunset is now about 7:40 in the evening, so you have twilight all the way through about 8 o'clock enjoy it. Here's what we saw today. You look at that blue sky, it is starting to change a little bit over the last couple of hours. You'll notice a few clouds start to creep into the frame. There they are, but not much. 40 was our low this morning, 70 was our high this afternoon, just a touch above average. 65 is our average high now, and of course it only goes up from here. But we can still get anything to happen this time of year. Our record lows are in the 20s, our record highs are in the 90s. It's all season weather here in the springtime for sure. Here's the moisture though, starting to move in from the Atlantic. We have some scattered clouds and some scattered showers. Farther to the west, this is the front that we're tracking for tomorrow. It'll be making some progress throughout the day. Here's what I see happening for us. In the morning, some scattered rain showers will be possible. The front still located back in central Tennessee. However, by the afternoon, it gets a little closer. That's when we'll have a better chance to maybe see some scattered thunderstorms. And I know maybe is not a word you like to hear in the forecast, but it's honestly the truth. For tomorrow, storms are a maybe. It's a possibility. It is not a guarantee. However, with all the wind in the atmosphere tomorrow, if we do get any storms, they're likely to pack a bit of a punch. So you take all that into consideration, we have about a level 1 out of 5 severe weather risk, which means stay alert, keep an eye out, but it's not a huge risk that we're going to have a lot of damage across the region. Here's Futurecast. As we noted, by the late afternoon, we'll start to watch the radar a little bit more carefully here. I do think some strong or severe thunderstorms will be possible, but it's not a guarantee, as I said. By midnight, the front will be through our area, and that's when the chill starts to arrive. Mountain snow is a good bet. That just shows you how chilly that area is going to be going into the end of the week. I'm a little concerned we could have some damage to our blossoming trees, agriculture crops, all those type of things. Severe weather threats tomorrow, mainly for a wind damage concern. Threats of tornadoes or hail, those are low with this storm. Not impossible, but low. I mentioned the snow threat for the mountains. This is just kind of funny here, where they could get a dusting to maybe an inch or two in some of those highest peaks. Here's the trouble by the end of the week, and I do mean trouble. This can be a problem for farmers. Upper 20s, that's a big deal. Friday morning and Saturday morning. Both days are likely to have a hard freeze. If you have sensitive plants and vegetation, you're going to need to protect them to help them along going into this weekend. In the meantime, back to tomorrow. Scattered showers are there for the morning. By the afternoon, I'll be tracking the radar more carefully for you. We do have that low threat of severe weather. We'll get through it, and then by the end of the week, it's chilly. However, Easter has warmer weather, which will stick around through next week. That's your forecast. You're watching News 2 at 6. It continues after this.
Check out this video. A viewer sent us his doorbell camera video that shows a FedEx worker throwing his package the last few feet to the door. Shannon Thomason said that he was in the kitchen when he heard it hit the door.
It was inconsiderate and disrespectful to someone, I mean, what if that was medical or, something that was vital to me? Granted it wasn't, but I think it was uncalled for and unprofessional.
And nothing was damaged in the box. In a statement, FedEx said in part, the behavior depicted in the video is unacceptable and inconsistent with the professionalism FedEx ground service providers demonstrate every day. The statement also says, we apologize for this delivery experience and will take the appropriate steps to address this matter.
Don't miss this. A new mode of transportation is coming to Greensboro. Blue Duck e-scooters and e-bikes launch later on this week. The company signed a 2-year contract to operate in Greensboro, replacing Lime bikes and scooters. All the Blue Duck scooters and bikes have GPS technology, allowing the company to restrict riding or parking in areas they are not allowed. It also means jobs, as Blue Duck will hire a local operations team to manage their fleet. You can start riding them and renting them on Thursday from 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. Blue Duck has been in Winston-Salem since November.
Passenger train service in North Carolina is also getting easier. The DOT says trains will resume a full schedule next Monday. That means there will be 8 daily trains instead of the limited number running under pandemic restrictions. COVID-19 protocols are still in place. Masks and social distancing will be enforced with limited capacity. We'll be right back.
He'll go down as one of the most dynamic and most exciting players to watch in a UNCG uniform, Isaiah Miller. But now that his college career is officially over, I asked him what we've all been wondering, and that's what's next.
I'll put my name in the NBA draft and start training for that, man. Just go to work. Just go to work. That's all I'm just gonna keep doing. I think I'm ready. I'm ready to be a pro, man.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can argue that, or argue that he's one of the best dunkers in all of college basketball. So much so that he was invited to the upcoming State Farm College Basketball Dunk Contest. So Isaiah, any hints for what we all can expect at home?
I'll let my dunks be a secret. Everybody gonna watch and see what kind of dunks I'm gonna do. Might bring out some props. I'm still, I got 3 out of the 4 dunks I got right now. So hopefully they just get the crowd hyped.
The dunk contest is set for April 1st, right around the corner. And I think if any of his dunks can resemble any of those, I think he's in good shape and he'll take home that gold trophy. We'll find out soon enough. We'll also hear much more from Isaiah Miller coming up later tonight right here on WFMY News 2 at 11. I'll see you then.
All right, two big weather stories we're following for the rest of the week. The first of those is tomorrow. We'll have scattered rain. That's no big deal. Thunderstorms, though, there could be some of them in the afternoon and evening. A few could have some wind damage, so we'll track that for you. The other big deal is on blue sky days, we're going to be really cold. Friday and Saturday morning, cold enough that there could be crop damage. Upper 20s is not what you want to see when trees are already blooming across the area. We see this from time to time in the spring, but it's one of those late freezes that, we're going into April here. That's pretty cold stuff. By Easter, we're warming up. I expect 70s next week. And honestly, guys, after tomorrow, we could be dry for a full week.
Wow.
So 7 days or so, that's pretty nice.
So those Easter egg hunts are going to be nice too.
Yes, jacket for the morning, but the afternoon, you don't need it.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you at 11.
WFMY News 2 is brought to you by West Shore Home, making bath remodeling faster, easier, and more affordable.
Heading into the rest of the week, couple of big weather stories to track for you. The first of those going to be on your Wednesday. Cold front headed our way. Ahead of it, going to be pretty warm and humid, and that sets the stage, especially this time of year, for a thunderstorm concern. Going to be in the late afternoon to the evening time frame, generally from 5 o'clock through about 10 o'clock. Then behind it, cold air. This is no joke. This cold air really does mean business, and it could be damaging to crops, plants, you name it, across the region by the end of the week. Our threat level for severe weather tomorrow is really on the lower end, a 1 out of 5, but we still could have some isolated storms that cause some damage, and the time frame, as I mentioned, is from that 5 to 10 range. So keep an eye on the radar. We will pass any alerts on to you. The front moves by after midnight, and that's when we get cold. That